As of this week, Bungie has given everyone in the game every single mod, which allows any player, old or new, to build craft in any way they want. And I know my recent videos in the channel have been all about build crafting and what builds I use. Well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys about all the mods in the game, what they do, how they work, and how I would go about creating my builds. Before we get into the video, be sure to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning into the video. In Destiny 2, we have a few different types of mods that are in the game. We have Charged with Light mods, Elemental Well mods, Warmind Cell mods, and then general mods that can do a few different things, whether that be getting your super energy back or regenerating your abilities. There are a few mods that help with targeting, finding more ammo, and more, but I will not be going into those. This video is going to be purely about the mods that I would put into my builds that affect things outside of that. The first mod type we're going to look at is Charged with Light. There are quite a few ways to become Charged with Light, and those mods are going to have a green icon. We have Taking Charge, which allows you to become Charged with Light when you pick up an Orb of Power, and this would pair perfectly with something like the Siphon Helmet mods that generate Orbs of Power after getting defeats with certain weapons. We also have Elemental Charge, which would make you Charged with Light after you pick up an Elemental Well. This is one of the most used mods to get you Charged with Light alongside Taking Charge. There are a few other ones as well, like Shield Break Charge, which makes you Charged with Light when you break an enemy shield with the matching energy type. We also have Empowered Finish. That one makes you Charged with Light when you do a finisher on an enemy. There are a few other ones that are specific to the affinity of your armor piece, so there are ones that tie into Void, Arc, and Solar. A few examples of those would be Precision Charge, which is a Void mod that makes you Charged with Light when you get rapid precision kills with bows, hand cannons, and scout rifles. Or Quick Charge on Arc, which works with fusion rifles and shotguns when you get multiple kills, or even Blast Radius, which works with grenade launchers and rocket launchers. Then we have mods that allow you to add to your stacks of Charged with Light, sometimes at a cost, and those are the white icon mods. At base, you can get up to 2 stacks of Charged with Light. There is Charged Up, and this one allows you to have an additional stack of Charged with Light, and it can be stacked. Then there is Supercharge, which allows you to have up to 5 stacks, but will cost you 5 armor points. Stacks on Stacks is another mod that would give you an additional stack of Charged with Light every time you get one, so you would get 2 instead of just 1. But you would take a -10 to the recovery stat. Lastly, we have the yellow icon mods that allow you to give some sort of boost and take advantage of Charged with Light, and usually these will take away a stack of Charged with Light once the mod is activated. One of the most used ones is High Energy Fire, which gives you a flat 20% damage buff to all of your weapons and will take a stack away on a kill. There are also things like Firepower, which will give you 15% of your grenade energy back after you use it, and this one does stack. The affinity of the mod also has a secondary use, with Solar being that you can stack the mods, Arc having a secondary effect that only procs when you have another Arc affinity mod in your build, and then Void will typically have a reduction to one of your stats. Another one I like to use is Loosened Blade, which gives you a damage buff to your swords for 5 seconds. One thing to know about Charged with Light mods is that they do work in PvP, so yes, you can gain a damage buff from High Energy Fire in PvP. In PvP, I actually like to use 3 different Charged with Light mods, those being Powerful Friends, which not only allows you to give your allies a stack of Charged with Light when you get one, but gives you a 20% stat boost to mobility when you have another Arc Affinity mod slotted, which is absolutely incredible for reaching that elusive triple 100 stat build on Hunters specifically. There is also Radiant Light, which gets your allies Charged with Light when you pop your super, and it gives you plus 20 strength when you have another Arc Affinity mod slotted. The last one I have, and I always have this on in PvP, is Quick Charge, which, as I said earlier, makes you Charged with Light when you get multi-kills with fusions or shotties. It also greatly increases the ready and stow speed of those weapons, as well as SMGs and swords, when you have another Arc Affinity mod slotted. Theoretically, you could stack all 3 of these mods and have a pretty cracked out build. Now, I want to give you an example of a build here. So I'm going to show you a Stasis Warlock build. The mods you would want to have in this would be Taking Charge, and then you would want to pair that with some sort of Siphon mod that allows you to create orbs when you get multi-kills with some sort of weapon, whether that be Kinetic Siphon, Harmonic Siphon, etc. Then you would go High Energy Fire to give yourself that flat 20% damage boost to your weapons. Then you would do 2 Firepowers so you can get your grenade back quite a bit faster after you use it. And then you would have Charged Up, which would give you an additional stack of Charged with Light, so you could have up to 3. So that means you could have quite a bit of maneuverability with the amount of grenade energy you can get back. And one thing to note with firepower is that if you have 2 stacked and you throw your grenade and the energy is gone, it will only take 1 stack of charge with light, but you will get the benefits of 2. The next mod type I'm going to be looking at here is elemental well mods. These are what most people argue to be the strongest type of mods in the game right now. I personally love these mods and use them in so many of my builds. Elemental well mods typically will rely on the subclass you are using and will drop little wells on the ground that when you pick one up, it will give you a boost to your lowest charged ability, or if you have a subclass that matches the type of well, it will give a boost to all of your abilities as well as some sort of empowerment. There are quite a few ways to create these elemental wells, ranging from kills with grenades, weapons that match your subclass, or even as simple as popping your super. We have Ordnance, which spawns 1 when you get a kill with a nade. Then there's Melee Wellmaker, which spawns 1 when you get a kill with your charged melee ability, or even Armaments, which spawns 1 after you get a few kills with a weapon that matches your subclass. All of these mods will spawn a single well that will match your subclass, with a few exceptions. Now that we have created these wells, what can we do with them? Well, there are a ton of ways we can take advantage of these wells, like for example with Font of Might, we can boost our weapon damage for weapons that match the well you pick up. So solar weapons will get a boost when picking up a solar well and vice versa for others. Font of Wisdom will boost our super recharge rate temporarily, and as I said earlier, Elemental Charge will make us charge with light when we pick up a well. There are also mods that are linked to the affinity of our armor as well. As there are so many mods in the game, I will not go over every single one, but I will tell you about the ones that are the most beneficial and the ones that I like to include in my builds. Explosive Wellmaker is a mod that is very useful and can spawn solar wells on any subclass. It is tied to explosion kills, and this actually works with quite a few things like Wither Horde, shatter damage from stasis crystals, chain lightning from dune marchers, or even explosive and timed payload. This one would be a solar affinity mod. Another one that is a solar affinity mod is Bountiful Wells, and this one allows you to stack mods to create an additional well starting with 2 and then 1 more well per mod that's the same. So for example, with 1 Ordnance and 1 Bountiful, you would spawn 2 wells of whatever the subclass is, and then if you add another Ordnance, it would be 3 wells spawning from a nade kill. Well of Ions, an arc affinity mod, increases your melee damage when you pick up an arc well, which is perfect for a melee build. Seeking Wells, which is also an arc affinity mod, will bring wells towards you like you have a magnet on you, and this actually works for your entire fire team too, which is amazing. So you would only need to have 1 person running Seeking Wells in your entire fire team, and everyone would take advantage of that benefit. The Void Affinity mod, Well of Tenacity, is one of the strongest ones in the game, allowing you to get a 3 times boost to resistance when you pick up a Void Well. Reaping Wellmaker allows you to create Void Wells on any subclass, as it procs when you use your class ability and then getting a weapon kill afterwards. You could actually take advantage of those last 2 mods on a Arc Titan build. So if you use your thruster, you can actually spawn the Void Well incredibly well, and then you would go pick up that Void Well, getting a 3 times damage resistance. Stasis has 3 super strong well mods as well, those being Elemental Shards, Elemental Time Dilation, and Supreme Wellmaker. Shards allows you to use stasis crystals as stasis wells, which would pair perfectly with the Glacial Harvest aspect, which spawns stasis crystals around a frozen enemy. Time Dilation allows you to stack time limit well mods like Font of Might, for example. A lot of teams that optimize their day 1 raid loadouts will have 5 people running 4 Font of Mights with 1 time dilation, allowing them to get up to 28 seconds of Font of Might. Then 1 person would have 3 fonts, 1 time dilation, and 1 way to make an elemental well. Lastly, Supreme Wellmaker will spawn 3 stasis wells when you cast your super, and this one could actually work perfectly with that last build I just said. A good example of an elemental well mod build would be my Heart of Inmost Light Arc Titan build. On this one, I had Elemental Ordnance to spawn my elemental wells, Font of Might to get a damage boost for about 7 seconds to my arc weapons. Then I would have Bountiful Wells to create a second well after I spawn one with Elemental Ordnance. Then Reaping Wellmaker to spawn a Void Well after I get a kill when I use my thruster. And then Well of Tenacity to get that 3 times damage resistance when I pick up that Void Well. The last type of mod in the game is the Warmind Cell mods, which did see a massive nerf towards the end of last year, which was year 4. Warmind Cells are only created with Ikelos and Seraph weapons, which is obviously the main focus of Season 19, Season of the Seraph. As long as you have a single Warmind Cell mod equipped, you can spawn one of these with those weapons after about 5 kills with these weapons. Warmind Cells are going to be orange balls that spawn on the ground, and when shot, will deal damage around them for a radius of 6 meters, doing anywhere from 50 to 250 damage, depending on the range of the enemy to the cell, and they last for about 20 seconds total. These also do not work in PvP. As it is the same with other mods, there are general mods and affinity-based mods for Warmind Cells. So when looking for a build, be sure to make note of what affinity you have on your armor pieces. Global Reach is the first mod I want to highlight, as it increases the radius of your cells to be 16 meters. You could pair Wrath of Rasputin and Rage of the Warmind together to create a ton of cells, as Wrath allows your solar splash damage to have a chance at creating a cell, and Rage will add solar damage to the explosions of your cells. Both of those are solar affinity mods as well. Power of Rasputin is a void affinity mod that you could take advantage of, as it gives you a 10% damage boost to enemies near your cells, but this one can get pretty niche. Another void one is cellular suppression, which creates a burst of suppressing void energy upon explosions, and this one could actually pair pretty well with a void build. Warmind's Protection is a great mod that allows you to take 50% less damage while near a Warmind cell, which is another void affinity mod. Grasp of the Warmind can be a pretty fun one too, as it allows you to pick the cells up and actually throw them, but it cannot be picked up again after you throw it once. The last one I want to highlight is Fireteam Medic, a solar affinity mod that gives you and your allies 50% HP when you destroy a cell. An example of one of these builds could be one that I use with a Solar Hunter and Ikelos SMG. So the mods I would want to run in this is Wrath of Rasputin, Rage of the Warmind, Global Reach, Grasp of the Warmind, and Power of Rasputin. So those are all of the mod types in the game. However, there are a few other mods that aren't linked to anything specifically, but are rather just tied to gameplay. Ashes to Asset is a solar affinity helmet mod that gives you bonus energy on grenade kills, which is great for a grenade spam build like my Arc Titan Heart of Inmost Light build. On your chest pieces, there are mods that can give you resistance to certain types of damage, making it very useful for higher activities. On Stasis Affinity Gauntlets, there are 2 mods that can give you energy towards either your melee or grenade when you use them respectively. However, it is worth noting that these do not stack with other mods that are like Charged with Light, for example. So if you have something like Firepower in your build, Grenade Kickstart would not stack with Firepower, but it will still work if you are not Charged with Light, if you have both of those equipped. There are class item mods that can give you energy towards specific abilities as well, depending on the affinity of that armor piece. So that is all of the mod types in the game explained. If you want to start build crafting with this newfound or already known knowledge, then I would recommend starting out with finding an exotic or playstyle you want to build into, like for example Heart of Inmost Light, or even a melee damage build. Then I would go and figure out the subclass like Arc, Solar, Void, Stasis, or maybe even Strand in Season 20 when Lightfall drops. And then after that I would go into the mods and figure out how you can better improve this build. Lastly, I would spec into the build with the guns that complement this playstyle. Like if you're going to run a melee build, you could run a 1-2 punch shotgun along with tractor cannon to get yourself even more damage. Now that's going to do it for this video. I know it was a longer one packed with a lot of information, but if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you watching. If you want to interact more with me, be sure to follow my Twitch or even go check out my TikTok for clips and shorter versions of the videos I post here, or just random videos I decide to make. Both will be linked in the description below. I want to thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. Peace.